Hello and welcome to Tax Matters. I'm Chamaka Ohaochi. TikTok. The year 2020 is gradually coming to an end as we move into the so-called Ember months. Businesses are gradually opening up as most sectors of the economy are reopening. We pray that in the remaining months, you will experience growth in your businesses and make profits. But remember, as you thrive in your business, you have to do the needful, that is, pay your taxes. You'll recall that a few episodes ago, we brought you interviews with some tax officials and tax advisors, as well as an exclusive interview with the Executive Chairman FRS, Chairman Joint Tax Board, and Chairman African Tax Administration Forum, all on stamp duties. Today on the program, we are revisiting stamp duties, and we have with us Mrs. Tolu Akpomedai, State Coordinator, Lagos Mainland West of the FRS. But before that, let's share with you the views of the populace on stamp duties.
Do you know anything about stamp duty?
Yes, of course. Stamp duty, I can remember vividly when we used to post letter. So we pay at least, I don't know, then I think it was like we paid 20 naira for. But the coming of this social network and all this, so I don't think, we don't most use it, but the people are using it actually. I don't. But sometimes I will see bank charge me and they say stamp duty, so I don't really understand.
Sir, do you know anything about stamp duty?
Well, the one I know is the one that when you make any transaction in bank, and if, for instance, if you make a transfer, or the bank, you transfer money to someone, the bank will charge you 15 naira.
Sir, what do you know about stamp duty?
Stamp duty, well, these are charges that the federal government or both banks charge on all the documents. Maybe you transact, well, you do through banks and others whatsoever, and the duty, the money is meager.
What do you know about stamp duty?
Basically, what I know about stamp duty is the money deducted from, the transaction you make. You understand? For instance, the bank deduction they do, based on the transaction you make. That's what I know about stamp duty.
Stamp duty chargeable on bank transfers. That seems to be the most popular stamp duty type most Nigerians are familiar with, closely followed by stamp duty on tenancy and lease agreements. It is obvious that more enlightenment needs to be done on stamp duties, and we continue with that today. Let us begin by sharing with you more of the chargeable instruments and the applicable rates. Gifts in the form of land attracts an ad valorem rate of 1.5%, while the extra copy attracts 50 naira. Goodwill debenture and settlements attract an ad valorem rate of 0.375%, while the extra copy attracts 50 naira. Guarantor's form for loan application is a flat rate of 500 naira, while the extra copy attracts 50 naira. Insurance policy attracts an ad valorem rate of 0.075%, while the extra copy attracts 50 naira. Joint venture agreements is a flat rate of 500 naira and 50 naira for the extra copy. Legal mortgage attracts an ad valorem rate of 0.375%, while the extra copy attracts 50 naira. Loan agreement attracts an ad valorem rate of 0.125%, while the extra copy attracts 50 naira. For a loan agreement, as accompanying document to a mortgage or debenture, it is a flat rate of 500 naira and 50 naira for the extra copy. Thank you for staying with us. Now to the State Coordinator of the FRS, Lagos Mainland West, Mrs. Akpomedai. Mrs. Akpomedai, welcome to Tax Matters.
Thank you.
Stamp duty is trending, and we know that The Principal Act for Stamp Duty was enacted in Nigeria way back in 1939. So obviously, stamp duty is not new, it's not a new tax. But why do you think it took this long for, that is 80 years, for this stamp duty to be implemented? That is the law to be implemented.
Well, the law has been on. Before now, we had stamp duty offices all over the nation. We've been collecting stamp duties. We've been handling that right from the beginning. But the only difference is the fact that it's not all instruments that we're supposed to have been collecting the duties on that we're actually doing that on. So that was actually why, with these dwindling oil prices, we need to look inwards. Where are the T's that we need to cross and the I's we need to dot? That was actually what brought about the stamp duties. Let's look inwards. Let's see where we can improve non-oil collections. And we now realize, oh, there are some things that we have not done on Stamp Duties Act. Oh, talking about this rent agreements, we were really not collecting stamp duties on that. It was neglected. But now it's been relaunched and we are out to do that collection. And we are expecting the landlords and all the rest to cooperate with us in handling this so that all receipts now from the MDAs and the banking sector now, everybody is having it. In stamp duty, you transfer more than 10,000, you get 50 naira payment from your account. And we're going online. Yeah, so it makes it easier for taxpayers. If they want to make their payments, they can do that in the comfort of their offices and make payments. So because stamp duty is now going to be done online, we're automating every operations and processes as regards stamp duties collection.
When stamp is mentioned, what immediately goes to the mind is postage stamps, posting letters. What is the difference between posting letters and stamp duty?
Thank you. Talking about stamp duties is very different from postage stamps. Stamp duties, there are duties imposed on documents and instruments. Stamp duties, we have different kind of instruments in which we, like agreements, receipts, contracts, MOU, and the like. Like postage stamps, which is just for delivery of items.
All right, now as an individual or a corporate body, why should I pay stamp duty? That is, what is in it for me?
For legality. You stamp duty your document so that you can present it in the court if there is any need for you to go to court with those documents. So because if some documents, if they are not stamp duty, they cannot be presentable in the court of law. So apart from you benefiting from government using it to provide amenities, for your own security purpose, you need to pay stamp duties on some of the documents.
We understand that stamp duty is collectible by both the FRS and State Internal Revenue Services. Now, can you please enlighten our viewers about the jurisdictions of the two levels?
For federal government, we collect stamp duties from any transaction between a company and an individual or group of individuals. For the states, it must be between individuals. So that's the jurisdiction.
All right. So now, how do the FRS and the State Internal Revenue Services intend to enforce these obligations, the stamp duty obligations in this regard?
Actually, we've started. Now, that if you transfer anything more than 10,000 naira in the banks, you know you are going to pay your 50 naira.
Now, for the sake of our viewers, how do we pay? We ask this because when it concerns stamp duty on electronic transfers, it is deducted at source by the banks. But when it is in relation to other documents, how is payment to be made?
Yeah, I told you we have automated our processes in terms of payment of stamp duties. And with that, if you go to the website, the steps are highlighted there. We have stamp duties offices throughout Nigeria. In Lagos, we have two, one on the island and the other one at Ikeja. So we have stamp duties commissioners there that they are there to attend to you and grant you audience on whatever problems you have to be able to solve the problem. For the payments, if you go to the website, the stages, the steps you go through are highlighted there and it will be easy.
this kind of nonsense has to end today. Why would the bank be removing somebody's money every time like that?
Mr. John.
My neighbor.
Yes, sir. Why are you rushing to like this?
Can you imagine? I just sent money to my son, and I got a debit alert of 15 naira from my bank as stamp duty. I am going to seek explanation from my bank because I made a transfer, not post a letter.
Mr. John, let me explain what stamp duty is. Stamp duty is not all about postage stamp matters. The 15 naira is a stamp duty levy charged by banks on customers who make transfers of 10,000 naira and above from one bank account to another bank account.
And why should I pay stamp duty for my hard-earned money?
Mr. John, paying stamp duty levy is a civic duty for every patriotic citizen. The taxes we all pay are collected and used by the government to pay salaries and provide basic amenities for citizens. It's even easier to make stamp duty payments now. All you need to do as a taxpayer is to log on to the following: www.stampduty.gov.ng or www.firs.gov.ng and click on e-stamping. By the way, Mr. John, it pays to pay your tax, you know.
Oh, thank you very much.
Sir.
Thank you, my daughter.
You're welcome,
My
sir.
regards to your family.
All right, sir.
This broadcast is powered by FIRS, Federal Inland Revenue Service.
Welcome back. Still on stamp duties, Mr. Mohammed Adamu Kudu is the Director, Micro and Small Taxpayers Department at the FIRS and directly oversees stamp duties offices across the Federation. Among other matters, we took Mr. Kudu up on the matter of the interministerial committee that was inaugurated to recover back duty collections of stamp duties. Mr. Kudu, welcome to Tax Matters. Since the renewed emphasis on stamp duties, the FIRS has grown revenue from stamp duties by over 1,000% in the first half of the year 2020. Now, how did this happen?
Well, it happened because before now, stamp duty has about only 2 tax heads that are fully operational and was not even largely complied to by some taxpayers. I mean the 1% on contract and also the bank's deposit and transfer. These ones are constant, but even as constant as they are, the bank deposit and transfer earn less than 80 million per week. Because what we do now is the banks will collect and the following Monday they will remit everything. This 50 naira that you suffer when you do transfer or deposit. So it has increased to over 2 billion now, only bank deposit and transfer. There are other tax aids in relation to loan agreement, in relation to vendor contract, in relation to other facilities. All these ones have now increased. People have now seen them as tax aid that need to be complied with. Before now, they don't know, and they are not doing it. But now they have known that stamp duty operation today has 53 bases of adjudication. And those 53 bases of adjudication, they all must be complied with. Before now, a lot of things were not done. Taking for instance, it is because our adhesive stamp was not given priority, because at a point we were thinking of cost-benefit analysis. But bearing in mind that it's one of the things that caused the backlog, the adhesive stamp have been printed and is now operational. Operational in Lagos, operational in Port Harcourt, operational in Abuja, and we're moving to Kano. So what created the backlog are the tax aid that we refuse to cover, either because of what we could not understand within the law, or negligence from our part, or somebody is doing our work inefficiently and we could not stop the person. These are things that cause the backlog, and these are things that we are currently taking care of gradually. And we are now pushing all the 53 tax aids so that the compliance with them will definitely make the stamp duty the black gold.
On the 30th of June 2020, an interministerial committee on audit and recovery of back year stamp duties was inaugurated by the federal government. Now, why was it considered necessary to set up such a committee?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, there is a level of when debt become collectible only by Attorney General of Federation. And that is why the interministerial committee is chaired by Attorney General of Federation. And for you to gain support of a broader stakeholders, you need to bring everybody on board to tell the public that these stakeholders are to conduct audit of the backlog, so that any taxpayer that wants to fumble will think twice. You need to identify who are the stakeholders involved in the recovery process and also in the audit process. And you need to let the public know that the auditing of the backlog and recovery of stamp duties accrued is now going to commence, so that the public will be well prepared for it. So it is important because recovery of 5 years liability or determine the amount accrued over 5 years is not going to be an easy task. For you to pay what you ought to have paid 5 years ago now is not going to be an easy task. The same thing for you to remit what you ought to have remitted over 5 years ago is not going to be an easy task. And that is why everybody must be on board to make sure they understand the program and key into it. So it is good that the interministerial committee was inaugurated for everybody to know that this particular exercise has begun and the government attach much importance to it.
Has the interministerial committee commenced work? If it has, do you want to share it or do you want to give us an update on recoveries made so far?
Thank you very much. The interministerial committee has commenced work. Since the date of inauguration, there are a lot of activities that have taken place towards the eventual auditing and recovery of accrued stamp duty from 2016 to date. There's one thing about audit. Audit is to set standard for future compliance, beside the fact that it's to recover anything that is due, collectible for government. For the mere fact that the partner data form has been sent and taxpayer populated them, the current payment has improved dramatically. In fact, the stamp duty on bank deposits and transfers have increased from 78 million to almost 3 billion now per week. So it's the thing that, for the mere fact that the form has been circulated, the taxpayer already know what is coming up, and they have started complying, and the collection has been increasing day by day. In fact, I'm having close to 980% increase on the collection since the inauguration of the committee.
Now, talking about blocking loopholes and also meeting compliance. Now, what is this FRS or what is the service doing to ensure that there's efficient compliance?
Thank you very much. Before March this year, it's only one aspect of stamp duty that is online, and that is with respect to registration. When you want to register with CAC, you go online, submit your document, complete the data form, and the system will give you the adjudication. You pay, stamp duty certificate is issued, which follows to CAC, and then registration certificate is now issued to you. This process has been on since 2016 because of ease of this business program. Now, that is not the only stamp duty payable by taxpayers. And if you want to ensure efficiency in service delivery, go and automate. So what we now did is to automate the entire 53 tax heads of the stamp duty program. And these 53 tax heads, we make sure that they can be done end-to-end online. It's only deed of assignment that you require intervention for about 7 states. you know, on the deed of assignment, system will require you to state the location of the property. So today, if the property is in Abuja, Lagos, Kano, Port Harcourt, Cross River, all those states that are already in the system will give you the actual value of the properties. And you can get adjudicated and then you pay. But there are about 7 states that we are yet to get data from them. The Ministry for Lands, they have not been cooperating, although we have taken additional effort to make sure they cooperate, because when they give you the prices, the value, or the rates of their lands and property in each location, and you upload into the system, there is no any manual intervention again. System will run end to end. But where that particular property is located in the state that we have not uploaded their data, system will take you back to Commission of Stamp Duty to do the adjudication. Such manual intervention creates inefficiency, and there is risk of under-assessment. And that's why we urge everybody to go online. We still have about 5 states with incomplete record, but 22 states are okay. To induce efficiency in service delivery is to automate, and we have automated. I don't want to mention a particular bank, but a bank was not remitting up to 13 million per week before. But by the time we pushed them to register for the e-stamp duty implementation, when they registered, by the time they went in, they know there will be no need to tell lie again, because everything is transparent. That bank remitted 182 million 1 week, when they were not remitting 30 million before. The following week, 250 million, and so on and so on. And that's why the stamp duty on deposit and transfer jumped from 78 to almost 2 billion. So it's a thing that as you automate, you'll be able to ensure efficient service delivery, because everything will be transparent. Everybody will entertain fear not to produce a wrong data so that they don't get penalized. But with the manual intervention, risk of under-assessment is there. Risk of even waiving away penalty is there. But in an automated system, the audit trail is there, so you will not do anything funny.
The interview with Mr. Kudu will continue in a subsequent episode of the program. One thing that has come out clearly, however, is that the renewed emphasis on stamp duties has begun to yield dividends. The vast improvement in collections from stamp duties was confirmed by the man at the helm of affairs, the Executive Chairman FRS, Mr. Muhammad Nami. The job of any revenue agency is to assess, collect and account for taxes. So we have with us the Executive Chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service, Mr. Muhammad Nami, and we are here to discuss the collection performance of the service. Mr. Chairman, welcome to Tax Matters.
Thank you for having me, Amaka.
How is the service doing with regard to stamp duty collections, January to date?
The January to date, like I have always explained in any opportunity I have to explain this, is that before I came on board and before this new management team was put in place, the average collection of stamp duty per week from all sources had been in a region of about 78 million per week. But as I'm speaking to you now, we collect as high as 2 to 3 billion on a weekly basis now. And I want to believe with this investment in technology, with the innovations in terms of audit and taxpayer sensitization, taxpayer education, and the technology that we intend, the information that we intend to exchange with relevant tax authorities, between relevant tax authorities. I think by the end of this year, one will have opportunity to speak again. I should be able to report to you that we may have done better than accordingly, because the 2 to 3 billion we are doing on a weekly basis is not good enough, but we are very confident that we are going to do better going forward.
But even at that, it is still commendable, sir.
We do share in the optimism of Mr. Nami and his team that indeed stamp duties can become a veritable source of revenue for governments at the federal and state levels. We enjoin you to play your part because, like they say, this country now we own. Let's meet again next week on this same platform, same day of the week, same time of the day. Don't forget to watch this episode and previous ones on our YouTube channel. You can also have your say by linking up with us on our social media handles. Stay safe till we meet again next week. Bye for now.